Good morning, everyone. I'm Bagadon at Stock Market Caddy, and in this video we're going to describe a strategy concept that many refer to as trading the opening range. We have written a strategy that we call the opening T-ball, and it's a variation on that very strategy. This video is going to have at least 2 or 3 segments. In the beginning here, we're going to describe the concept. Then we're also going to demonstrate or show the strategy that we've written with kind of a brief overview of how one might use this. Then secondarily, especially for the benefit of our annual members, we're going to go into the details of the settings, how to backtest, the results of the backtest fully, the results of the walk forward test, and the fact that we're placing this instructional video for their benefit into their library for their reference, and how this strategy might be used not just on stocks but on futures as well. Today is Saturday, August 28th at about 11:30. And by the way, this concept comes to us from one of our members, Ed. He came across the idea and the concept, and he has been trading a beta version of the strategy that we've developed. We've already made some improvements, so I think Ed's going to be even happier, and we're all going to benefit from his concept and his initiative on this. I'm not necessarily recommending that someone use this strategy. It's going to be new to us. So you do want to go through and make sure when you get the strategy that it's doing what you think it should be doing, and everyone proceed with the obvious caution as you do with anything new. For those that might be seeing this video for the first time, again, I'm Bagadon at Stock Market Caddy. You're always welcome to give us a call at 813-758-8263 or visit stockmarketcaddy.com. Now, let's dig into the strategy itself. Okay, so in this view, we have loaded in the strategy, and you see these lines on the chart. What are these lines? Well, this is the upper range, this is the lower range, and we've actually put in the mid-range for each day. So this is, one day right here. You see the divider. This is another day, another day, another day. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days here. 5 days. And let's do this. Let's go back and make sure we want to have 3 months. So this only has 5 weeks. I want to go back and have 3 months of data because we're going to show you some results here and do a little bit of a testing. All right. So what it's doing now, the strategy on the chart, you see these little orders, it's establishing the range over so many bars. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And if price breaks above, it will buy. If breaks below, it will sell. And then we'll talk about the stops in a moment. So let's go look at the strategy that we have written and what optionality do we have. This is the name of the strategy. It's called SMC Opening Tee Shot. Okay, a little bit of a golf theme strategy. Okay, but we've told you, been able to tell you what it's based on. So now we're going to go and we're going to customize. Well, the starting time is 9:30. We're not going to change that. It has an ending time of 3:45. We're going to leave that alone. Now the bars to consider. This is what is, very empowering at TradeStation and very empowering to be a member to Stock Market Caddy because we will build in some optionality. And here you might have to decide, and so let's just do this as an example. How many 1-minute bars should the computer the computer consider to establish the high and the low range? Is it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 60 minutes? How about we pick 30 minutes, the first half hour? How many ticks above or below the breakout range? That's kind of interesting. What if it just goes up and touches the top but doesn't break out? So let's give ourselves 2 ticks, either above or below. Now, position profit switch. We could actually set a profit target. Yes, if we set this as true, Okay, well, how much money might I want to make? Let's arbitrarily, right now, we don't know. I'm going to put in $500. So what that means is if the computer gets up 500 bucks, it's going to exit. Position stop loss switch. Well, I really don't want to lose more than $500, give or take. So I'm going to put in 500. So I'm going to try to make 500 and not lose more than 500. Well, that's kind of interesting. And then I have something called a position dollar trailer switch or a percent trailer switch. Well, I'm going to set this as true and let me explain to you what it does. And then ask me for the floor amount. I'm going to put in 250 and then I'm going to trail 25%. So what happens here is if the amount of money in my account runs up to 250 and then trails back just 25%, it'll exit and I'll capture the money. Well, that's pretty cool. But if it keeps on going and hits 500, then I'll make 500. All right. And then the number of trades per day, I just want to trade it once. And yes, I want to see the ranges on the screen, so I leave that as true. And now it's going to recalibrate, and there are the trades. One a day, if we even get one. And we see, well, here was a stop loss, here was a stop loss, here was a stop loss. Okay, we got like 4 stop losses on here. Doesn't look real good right now, but let's go in and look at the performance report. Stay with us. And that's not the report I want. Okay, so it actually isn't all that bad. Had a high watermark of 5,000, 2,000 over 3 months. Let's go to look at this. And all right, so it gives us a profit factor of 1.12. Really not that great. 60 trades over 60 days, 63% winners, but I only made $1,200. So now what we can do, this is what's so empowering. Maybe I didn't pick the right parameters. Well, that could take me a month of Sundays to guess at what the right parameters are. I suppose I could go to Twitter and follow this guy or that guy, and he'll tell me it's 20 minutes, it's 5 minutes, the profit target should be that. No, I'm not going to do any of that, not our members. We're going to go back to the strategy. And we're showing you this to let you know, hopefully, give you food for thought. You know, we're trying to make you aware of what you're up against with other traders. You know, the first step in learning anything is to be aware of what you don't, being aware of what you don't know. So if you know all this, then great. We're going to come here to the bars to consider, and I'm going to optimize. What does that mean, Bagger? Well, I'm going to optimize from 2, in essence, to 60, which is 60 minutes increment of 1. And I'm going to ask the computer to tell me over the last 3 months what would have been the best length of time. The ticks I'm going to leave alone. The profit target, same thing. Maybe I'm being too aggressive. Maybe I'm not aggressive enough. So I'm going to ask the computer from $100 to $1,500, increment of $25. Tell me what the best profit target should have been, Mr. Computer. And then the stop loss, boy, I don't want to give it too much. Maybe it's maybe I do 250 to 750, increment of 25, and I say okay. And the percent trailer, maybe the floor amount. What do you think? The floor amount, maybe we stay at 200, and let's just go to 400, increment of 25. And the percentage, I don't want to cut it too close. I don't want to, but we'll just make it from 20 to, let's say, 50%, increment of 5%. Tell me what it ought to be, and then I hit OK. So now I look at something called, there are over 4 million combinations. Well, that'd be crazy. That would take a long time to test all those permutations to find out what the best permutations are. And I know what you're thinking, so stay with me. But I'm going to go here to something called a walk forward optimizer, or a walk forward. This is unique to TradeStation, and I'm going to plug in WFO, or I'm going to create WFO AMC, and I'm going to call this 1 minute open range, OPR. How about that? I got to be brief there. Now, even though I got a pretty fast computer, that could take hours to run that many tests. So I'm going to drop this down to something called genetic, and I'm going to hit optimize. And now the computer is going to run through all those permutations. Isn't that crazy? And it's going to save that file. It's going to save that file for me because I know what you're thinking. You're saying, hey, Bagger, well, just because what happened in the past may not happen in the future. And you're exactly right. That is true. And you might also be thinking, well, you got so many parameters in there. It's something called a curve fit. And again, you're fitting it to the past. That's all good. But is this going to work for me in the future? And the truth of the matter is, I don't know. I don't even know yet here. So I need to create this file, and I'm going to show you the results of this backtest, and then I'm going to show you, time permitting, what we're going to do with the Walk Forward Optimizer, especially for our members. So stay with me. So the backtest is still running. It's going through all these iterations, and it takes time, A lot of people just think, oh, you can just plug and play. Here at with us and at TradeStation, we actually have the capacity to, to write these programs, the specific code. And you don't have to as a member. We will do it, but we'll take the time to do it, make sure that it's doing what we want it to do, and then backtest it, and then we're going to show you what we're going to do with that walk forward test, which is all important before you commit your time and your capital chasing shadows. Okay, so the backtest has run, and before we go look at it, and these lines have repositioned themselves, right? Because the high and the low is being established over how many periods? Well, we can see some of the results up there, but let's go look first at the strategy. What did the computer come back with? And the computer said you should run this, or the bars to consider, bars of range to consider. So the computer's asking, well, how many bars, how many minutes should we consider before drawing the high and the low? 13 minutes. All right, well, that's important. And we didn't use this. We used the mid-range as a stop. And the profit target is actually 600. It increased. The stop loss dropped to 425. Well, that's kind of interesting. And then the percent trailer actually came in at $250, and the percent was 20%. So we weren't that far off. But just that little adjustment by the computer gives us a performance report that now looks like this. Much different. Now the total net profit is 2.62, meaning I'm making $2.62 for every dollar I lost. If I had run this strategy with this amount of money over the last 3 months, I would have made $9,750. Total number of trades, 63. The winning percentage, very high, 77% of the trades. Well, that's pretty interesting. And I get a lot more data that I can peruse. My maximum trade drawdown was just $430. My trade analysis, a lot more information. And look at this beautiful looking, we call that an equity curve. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. You're saying, well, hold on there, Bagger. What's happened in the past may not happen in the future. And you're right. Just because this is the result of the previous 3 months doesn't ensure or guarantee anything to happen in the future. The backtest does give us a model to measure against, right? And it does help us to get mechanical in our trading as opposed to being discretionary and guessing at things from day to day. But the other point of that there could have been a curve fit. What if we put in so many parameters that the computer just tortured the data and came up with a result that is just not realistic again in the future? Both of those scenarios are possible. At TradeStation, they provide us a tool called the Walk Forward Optimizer. This is only available at TradeStation. And I'm going to come here. Remember the file that we created? There it is. AMC 1 minute, WFO, AMC 1 minute. I guess I repeated that, OPR. I'm going to open that file, and I am going to start what is called a cluster analysis. And what is that going to do? It's going to take the backtest and it's going to slice and dice out of sample data sets, and it's basically going to randomize that data. And then it's going to spit out a report, and it's going to tell me how robust this strategy is. What is the randomized likelihood that this thing will make money? Maybe it'll do better than the backtest. Sometimes we get that type of result. Maybe it comes back and says, you know, this is only going to run with 70% efficiency. So instead of making 10 grand, you're only going to make 7 grand. That sort of thing. It's a model. That's what strategy trading is about. It is about creating a model that is meaningful and then using technology so that the execution is flawless and repeatable. If you think that you can compete day in and day out with a mechanical trader or the machines, guessing at this, guessing at that, doing something different every single day, well, good luck, because that is going to be a hard way to go. Now, I don't have enough time on YouTube to show you the results of this walk forward optimizer. So for those of you on YouTube, if you want to see this, feel free to give me a call. Feel free to drop us an email. My phone number is 813-758-8263, and I'm happy to show you the results of this. I'm also happy to show you, we're going to go further. Unfortunately, I can't on YouTube, but for our members, they're going to get to see this result, both our annual and monthly members, and they're going to get to see us set this same program up on a futures contract, and they're going to get some additional coaching, and then of course they're going to get the very file. The annual members will get the very file that we've created. It's taken us quite a bit of time to vet the idea and the concept of the strategy. We're not necessarily recommending it, although we have some folks that have been running it in beta and reporting to us anecdotally that they like what they see. It's going to be even better, this final copy, and we're now going to get that out to all of our members. So with no further ado, we're going to push this start cluster analysis and wish everyone at YouTube the best in their trading. I'm Backtest. For our members, stay tuned.